The stage is set. The challengers are ready. And the battle of ideas is about to begin.
How many youth can these people employ?
Get ready for season 2 of the ultimate debate competition, where the sharpest minds, the boldest arguments,
because all we want is eradicating poverty at its grassroots level,
and the brightest young debaters go head to head. Who will rise to the top?
We're going to be having healthy citizens.
Who will claim the title? Tune in to find out in the explosive TV debate competition season 2, presented by iDebate.
Hello and welcome back. This is the TV Debate Championship Season 2. And as always, I am Shema, your host. Now today, we have the second round of the semi-finals. The journey has been intense and very difficult for the debaters. Now debate, like anything worthwhile in life, it will teach you the values of patience, handling successes and handling failures, and gaining personal growth in the process. Without further ado, I would like to introduce the debaters that will be contending in today's debate. On side proposition, we have Hope Haven Christian School. A round of applause for Team Proposition. On the other side of opposition, we have Stella Matutina. Thank you. Now I will hand it over to the judges to officially open up the debate. May the best team win.
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Benice Gilamata and I will be your judge today.
Hi, my name is Ingawe Adasa.
Hi, my name is Divin Furanzima. I'm also going to be your judge on this round. So the motion is this House would prioritize vocational trainings as the primary strategy for youth unemployment and poverty alleviation in Africa.
Do you all have the same motion? Okay, I think now we're ready for the first speaker.
Thank you, dear judges. I go by the names of Mugisha Prosper as the first speaker from Team Proposition on today's motion that states that this House would prioritize vocational training as the primary strategy for youth unemployment and poverty alleviation in Africa. Now, for us to understand the key terms of this motion, let me explain it for you. Now, prioritize, put something first before others, but not removing others, which means prioritizing, we are putting things first, but we are not removing others from the status quo. Now, the vocational training, these are the studies or trainings aimed to equip young generations with practical, professional, and special skills of a specific area. Now, what do I want to mean with the vocational training? These are normally the trainings done in schools, whereby a student starts doing the rehearsals of what they will do in the workforce earlier than they might think. They are called the internships. Now, the youth unemployment, this is a state where the majority of the youth lacks jobs. This is a clear thing that's happening to the African nations today. Now, in Africa, we have a problem by which you find a youth is a person that has just finished the high school or has finished the university and is lacking the skills to make him get that job that he wants, the skills that can make him, if he starts a business, he's not going to be successful. Do you know why? He lacks the skills. Now, the poverty alleviation, this is the reduction of poverty, in which it is one of our main aims today's debate. Now, in the current status quo, the vocational training is there. That's true. But the problem is that the vocational training is not being prioritized. It's not being put at the primary aim. Now, we are bringing it to the table, making it a primary aim, which means that this vocational training is already there, but we are just going to make sure that it is put much emphasis in, not removing others. Now, what's the difference between vocational training and other kinds of trainings? Now, I'm going to speak of this. The vocational training is not all about the education. It's not all about the masonry and and the mechanics that we all know. The vocational training includes education, agro-education, software engineering, mechanics, architecture, construction, wood technology, masonry, electrical engineering, multimedia, video production, filming, and many more. Which means that these vocational training are the ones that are impacting the nations of Africa so far. Which means that this vocational training, they are efficient even though they are not yet being put as a primary aim. Now imagine if we put them as a primary aim, dear judges, then it means the promotion, the development we're seeing in such countries of Africa at a low rate because they are not the primary aim. Now, if they are made the primary aim, then this development will be faster, will be quicker, and will be more efficient. Now, what is the declining the countries of Africa so far? The youth that is competing, the schools lose jobs. Now, I've mentioned this in my area speech. Now, it takes a long time for effectiveness of traditional education. Other kind of education that are not this kind of vocational training, you find I finish high school and then I cannot go to start work. Do you know why? Because I need the university. I need to go to the college to get more certification so that I can start job. Now, this vocational training, they apply you with the skills in which by I just finished the high school and I'm eligible to work. This is what we're bringing to the table. We're bringing to the table whereby if we put it as a primary aim, then it means that we will be making students eligible for work even earlier than usually. Now, vocational training provides skills and experience with source of knowledge. Now, we all know that source of knowledge is not just skills, it includes even experience. Now, this vocational training, you start the internships when you're still a student. Now, these internships help you to start achieving this kind of experience before you even get to work. Now, when you get to work, then you're eligible to work and your workforce will be better. Now, to the reduction of poverty, let me get to that point now. Due to skilled workforce, it will lead to quick and proper profitability of businesses in Africa. Hence, alleviation of poverty. Now, here's what I want to mean, dear judges. Let's be focused on this one. Now, the skilled labor that will be in workforce will make sure that the policy we've just brought, this will be eligible in the skilled workforce. Now, if we get a workforce that is skilled, then it means what we are bringing as a product, then it will be efficient. It means if I come and I have experience, and you come as just as a newcomer, a person that has never experienced that, then we are totally different people. Now, if I come with the skills, then I'm going to be more effective than you. Then, what is the main source of youth unemployment in the first place? There is lack of skills. Now, these skills are being provided in the vocational training. There is lack of experience. Vocational training is providing them. Time of eligibility for work. Vocational training is providing them. So, clearly, this is a clear sign that the vocational training we are bringing, this will bring about the promotion, the development of African nations. Mind you, as I leave the stage, no one invests in unskilled. Thank you. I rest my case.
The second speaker.
My time starts now. I'll start by refuting what the current speaker just came here and said. I quote, he said, in the status quo, we have vocational trainings, but we still have poverty. To me, if we prioritize this, how sure are we going to be elevated from poverty? And I quote, he also said, the unemployment that we have in the youth now is caused by lack of skills, which is not a skill. And vocational training provides a skill and not a set of skills. Dear judges, imagine, in this world where change is constant, we wake up and we find that modes of production, economic system, job preferences have all changed, and we are all forced to start fresh since the world is always evolving. Allow me to tell you the motion that I come here opposing. This House would prioritize vocational training as a primary strategy for youth unemployment and poverty alleviation in Africa. There are some key terms we do not agree with. First of all, there is vocational training. This is an education that prepares people for a skilled craft as an artisan. So if you want art, then you become an artisan. If you want to learn trade, then you become a trade person. This is a skill and not skills. And then I come in here and talk about primary strategy. This is a method used as the root without any branching factor. And to prioritize something is putting on agenda over other things. So when it comes to poverty alleviation, it is crucial to consider a holistic approach. Vocational training can be beneficial, but solely prioritizing it may not address poverty. Because poverty, this is a multifaceted issue that we are dealing with. It is a comprehensive strategy, that I agree, but if only it includes education, job creation, social support, access to resources, it is often more effective in tackling poverty in a sustainable manner. Now, I'll tell you why we do not agree that vocational training should be prioritized. First of all, these are the root causes that in our African youth we deal with. First, there is systemic issues. Poverty is rooted in systemic problems such as discrimination, lack of infrastructure, political instability. This cannot be addressed by vocational training, dear judges. And then there is economic inequality. With vocational skills, still individuals may struggle to escape poverty since systemic economic inequality and limited opportunities denied. Then there is education and healthcare. Vocational skills do not focus on quality education, dear judges. Matter of fact, if your skill does not match with a job on market, and then you'll have to learn another skill, vocational, and mind you, vocational skills take a short time to mean they only care about the skill you get. And what are we bringing on the table? What do we want for our African youth? What do we want to elevate the people who are under the poverty line? There is social support and quality education. And here we talk about access to opportunities. Social support programs can provide young people with access to resources like mentorships, internships, job training that can help them to find employment. And here, when we talk about mentorship and internships, we are dealing with the systemic issues that we have in Africa. Look at what happened to Rwanda. Look at what is happening in Burundi. Look at what is happening in Congo. So to me, this vocational training are not fixing our African youth. They are not fixing the poverty that we have. What we need is to mentor the Africans to be united, to mentor the Africans denied, to mentor the Africans to do what they're supposed to do. And second of all, we have financial assistance. Programs such as scholarships, grants, and subsidized housing can alleviate financial burdens and allow young people to focus on their education and career development. They come here and tell us, if you have traditional education, you are not going to get the country anywhere. What is lacking? There are the grants, there is the scholarship that we want, and other programs that can finance our youth to go and find work. And then there is mental health support. Addressing mental health challenges is crucial for young people's well-being and ability to participate fully in society. And social support can provide access to counseling and other mental health services, which is another issue we are dealing with the African youth nowadays. And then there is community engagement. Social support programs can foster a sense of belonging and community, which can help young people to develop confidence and resilience needed to overcome challenges. And what is the synergy between quality education and social support? This is a multifaceted issue. Poverty it is. And then we want to approach it with a holistic approach. So there is skill development. He also said poverty is caused by lack of skills, and vocational training provides a skill and not a set of skills. So a strong educational foundation equips young people with knowledge, skills, and critical thinking abilities needed to succeed in the workforce. He said, we want to train the people to come and find their places in the workforce. What if I study filming, and then the Hollywood and Bollywood are now full? What do I do? But if you provide a quality education with a lot of sets, with like major set of skills, you can go to the outside world. You can be a teacher, you can be a mentor, you can be a judge in the iDebate, you can work in social places. That is what we are rooting for. What we want is an African youth that is self-resilient, an African youth that can find its own solutions without relying on its one skill. My next speaker will talk about everything clearly. Thank you. I raise my case.
The next speaker.
Okay. My time starts now. Thank you. The motion of today says that this House would prioritize vocational training as the primary strategy for youth unemployment and poverty alleviation in Africa. First of all, we all agree that the case on this, like the case we're debating, like the problem we're trying to solve right here, is poverty and youth unemployment. Let's not divert from that thing. And then, the first speaker came here and tried to say that vocational training is not effective because it's already being used, but then the poverty is still there. But my first speaker came and clarified that vocational training is not being prioritized at all. That's why we're coming here and putting an emphasis on prioritizing it and using it as the primary strategy in order in order to tackle youth unemployment and poverty. And now, the burden of the proposition side is to show you how well vocational training tackles youth unemployment and reduces poverty, and we have to prove you why we want it to be a primary strategy. And then they have to give us an alternative which will tackle youth unemployment and poverty alleviation, also proving us why they're bringing it as the primary strategy. And then, first of all, what are the causes of youth unemployment? Let me first state this thing. Experience plus knowledge equals skills. The traditional education that's being prioritized right now only gives the knowledge, but you don't get to have the experience, which means that the youth that we have right now lacks skills, which is one of the causes, main root causes of youth unemployment, which we are right here tackling, because the vocational training will be coming and giving you the experience and giving you also the knowledge. He's giving you skills. He's creating a skillful, experienced, and effective workforce. And then there is studying something and then coming to know that that thing wasn't what you wanted. You don't have job satisfaction. Then you end up dropping your career that you've been preparing for your whole life. That's what we're right here solving. You'll be engaging in that field you want to engage in on an early age, which means that once you find maybe you tremble while like maybe cutting things, you'll be searching for another career, which is what right here vocational training is coming to solve. The displacement in jobs in the youth, which leads to youth unemployment. And then there is time of eligibility to work. We find that the traditional education that's being prioritized right now only makes you eligible for work once you're done with university. We want to bring a strategy which will help people at 16, people at 17 to be able to have the skills and the experience needed in order to step up and fight the poverty, so that we start from now, not in years to come. And then, what are the causes of poverty? They came here at the table with political instability, and they came here with poor infrastructure. Now I'm coming with a summary of all their root causes, showing you the main root cause of poverty, which is unskilled workforce, because poor infrastructures come from unskilled people. They're the ones who build poor infrastructures. And then political instability comes from unable leaders. Then you're going to study history and go all the way to everything. But then if you just engage in the field of politics, you will be trained on how to make the greatest decisions that won't cause chaos in the whole country, which will be raising able political leaders. And then we are raising an experienced and effective workforce, which will show you that unskilled workforce is the main root cause of poverty. And then we're raising entrepreneurs, because for vocational training, they get to be presented, or they get to step in the field before. Which means that they get to analyze and see what are the lacking sectors in that field. So in case they're not employed, they know how well, or they know what that field is lacking, so that they can go and become entrepreneurs and bring that lacking and fill that loophole. We're creating entrepreneurs. And then with the skilled workforce, we're also attracting investors, because of course you're going to invest your business, or you're going to invest in an area with skilled people. And investment is one of the things which can help us to alleviate poverty, which is these all arguments are showing you, judges, how we're alleviating poverty. And now, why do we need to prioritize it? Because as I showed you and kept on proving you in my arguments, it's the backbone. It's the backbone of resolving that political instability. It's the backbone of resolving that poor infrastructure. It's the backbone of having a great education. It's the backbone of having great agriculture, leading to food security, leading to meeting basic needs, leading to alleviation of poverty. So, dear judges, we, as the proposition side, have clearly showed you why how vocational training is tackling the problems at the table right here, which is youth unemployment and poverty alleviation. And we have showed you why we should prioritize it as the primary strategy to tackle these ones. Thank you.
My time starts now. So the current speaker comes here and talked about how the root cause of poverty is unskilled labor. Yes, it is unskilled labor because they only have one skill. My first speaker came here and talked about how poverty is a multi-faced problem because we cannot approach it by prioritizing one thing that has not been showing efficient promises. So what are we talking about here? We're discussing about poverty alleviation. It's important to recognize that vocational training is just one piece of the puzzle. While vocational skills can enhance employability, addressing poverty, comprehensive, including targeting systematic issues like access to education, healthcare infrastructures, and social safety nets. Vocational training is valuable but cannot address the multi-phase nature of poverty factors such as access to quality education, healthcare, social support, play pivotal roles in lifting individuals. So what is the current speaker came here and talked? He wanted to, she talked about how she wants everyone with any age to make money. And she also talked about how people with quality education need a university degree to actually start working. Now I'm going to ask you, are all people who are working in this room, all people who we have seen working, who studied quality education, did have a university college degree? So I see that as lies. So what are they advocating for? They're advocating for a country, a youth that only has one skill. And my first speaker came here and talked about how having one skill in the world that is forever changing, that we cannot stop change, is actually playing a losing game. So I'm going to talk about how quality education as a catalyst can actually enhance poverty alleviation more than what this part of the world is bringing to us. Skilled and development. A strong education foundation equips a young people with knowledge, skills, and critical thinking abilities needed to succeed in the workforce. So the second speaker here came and talked about how studying history is actually useless. You would rather study politics. So what am I talking about here? When you study history, you actually have options. You can do law, you can do politics, you can do philosophy, you can do a lot of different things. But what they're advocating for is actually, you come and do politics. Now, what if we have enough politicians in the world? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What is actually your plan B? Because what quality education actually is giving you is plan B, because you can do law, you can do politics, you can do a lot of different things. So what we're advocating for is actually equipping the youth with different skills in the world that is forever changing. Increased importability. Well-educated individuals are more likely to secure better paying jobs, have greater career opportunities. This is not something that I need statistics to prove. We all know that we cannot learn how to be a doctor in 6 months. We cannot learn how to be a politician in 2 months, which is what we're advocating for. So what is actually bringing about their world? Yes, we do not say vocational training is bad. We do not say vocational training is not important. What we're talking about here is vocational in giving you. The first speaker also came here and talked about how people in vocational schools or vocational training programs actually get more internships and jobs. And now I'm going to ask, are you going to ever last on the income that is given by internships? Because we all know that there's a difference between an internship salary and the difference between a salary that is actually a salary. Because we cannot make a doctor in 6 months. We cannot make a judge in 2 months. We cannot. What they're actually bringing to the table is an immediate pain relief. What we're actually looking for in the long run is quality education, because it is a long-term sustainable approach. Entrepreneurship. Education fosters creativity and innovation, enabling young people to start their own businesses and create jobs. So, yes, we're not saying vocational training people do not start jobs. Yes, they do start jobs. But what are they advocating for here? They're advocating for the certain amount of people, the youth, to actually also go for one career, one skill. What this is going to lead to? It's going to lead to competition that is actually necessary. A lot of jobs that are actually not going to make any sense because, well, everyone works here and so with the same skill. Reduce vulnerability. Educated individuals are less likely to be exploited or trapped in low-wage, precious jobs. So what are we advocating for here? We're advocating for people to actually take quality education with their vocational trainings, because actually the fun fact about this vocational trainings, you can actually do quality education and still do vocational trainings and it won't kill anything. We have examples of ALEX. You can finish your university, while you can finish your secondary and still do these programs, because they are short-term programs. Yes, along with vocational trainings we can, but vocational trainings alone are actually a liability. Vocational trainings alone are actually playing a game of losing. Social support as a foundation. Access to opportunities. Social support programs can provide young people with access to resources like mentorship, internships, job trainings that can actually help them find. With the statistics that they are not in numbers, we all know that vocational training scholarships are low. Vocational training scholarships are low because people are actually going to be competing to be the best. But with quality education, it doesn't actually, you don't have to be the best. You can be the bare minimum. You can be medium, and you'll still get a scholarship because, people are actually going to equip people with knowledge that is actually sustainable in the future. Financial assistance programs such as scholarships, grants, subsidies, housing can alleviate national borders and allow young people to focus on their education as a career development. What they're actually advocating for, thank you, I invite you to my side because vocational training has proven to be a short-time painkiller.
Thank you. My name is Gatrofev. I'm coming from the proposition side. So first of all, before I start, let me first read the motion for you. The motion today states that this House believes that this House would prioritize vocational trainings as the primary strategy for the youth unemployment and poverty alleviation in Africa. So first of all, what we should understand, the motion exists because in the current status quo, vocational trainings are not being prioritized. That is why you have poverty in Africa. So this means there's another thing that the African nations have been prioritizing that has not been working for these recent years. So for us as a proposition side, we are advocating for something that is going to bring a change, in the poverty, and we are going to be removing people from poverty. Another thing, as we are saying, this motion states the word saying prioritize. That means that you're going to be prioritizing vocational trainings, but not removing other courses. So they have been saying about that vocational trainings alone, they are not effective by the second speaker. They are not effective, they are not. Yes, we know, but them being prioritized, they are most effective. That means you're going to be prioritizing vocational trainings, but not removing other things. Denied, please. As we are continuing, they have been bringing the point as the main point of clash from the opposition side, bringing what we call quality education. They are forgetting that in even vocational trainings, there will be quality education once it is prioritized. So what they should understand is that quality education can be found in the vocational trainings where they are prioritized. So actually, that's what we are advocating for. That's why they're on our sides. They're on our sides because they want to bring quality education. And for us, because they're prioritizing vocational trainings, we are also bringing quality education in the vocational training. So that means they're on our side. So secondly, they have been saying that the root causes of African nations, for them to be poor, there's discrimination and political instability. We know they are in Africa, but not all countries in Africa have that problem. But all Africa, we have the common problem of what we call unskilled labor force. That is one of the things that all of Africa, we are having in common. So that means if you are going to be bringing vocational trainings, first of all, in vocational trainings, they give experience and they give skills. That means they give knowledge, they give experience to the internship, and which provides a skilled labor force. So that means we are going to be bringing up a skilled labor force, which is a problem which is in common with all of Africa. So that means for us tackling the skilled labor, we are actually tackling the root cause of the African problem. So another thing they're saying that they want skilled personnel. That's the problem. They want skilled personnel, but they're not prioritizing vocational trainings, and that means they actually okay with the status quo, and the status quo shows us that there's a problem in the skilled labor. So that's a problem. Another thing, and they are telling us that we can't train doctors for 6 months, and we cannot teach politicians for 6 months. Mind you, in vocational trainings, those are not the only sectors that we are tackling. That means in vocational trainings, there's a wide range. There's agroeducation, there's architecture, there's filming, there's multimedia. And for example, as we all know, our dear famous celebrity called Nyakso, he studied PCB, and then he is in filming. How can that happen? That's why we are poor in Africa. But imagine when our dear celebrity Nyakso would have started filming, he would be very advanced, he would be very skilled in doing what he's doing. That's the problem. So you find a person has studied MCB, a person has studied MPG, but now he's doing a reception in a hotel. That's a problem. We should bring up people who are studying hotelism to work in the hotels. We should bring up people who have studied agriculture to work in the farms. We should bring up people who have studied education to be teachers. We should bring up people who have studied things so that we can be able to eradicate poverty. Another thing, the reason why you're advocating this, it is because it gives a chance to the youth to start working when they're still young. A person who has studied the traditional education, they cannot work when they're still young. When you finish a 6, the only hope you have for a job is after you have finished university. But a person who has studied vocational training in TVET in Rwanda, who has studied TVET, when he finished a 6, when for example he studied software engineering, he knows that wherever he's going to be asking a job, they're going to be giving him the job because he has has been qualified for that. That's what we're advocating for. We want people to start to work when they're still young. We want people to start creating jobs when they're still young. We want people to start being equipped when they're still young. That's what we're advocating for. And they have said, as the second speaker, that they want education. That's what we're still advocating for. They're saying that all people who are working here, they don't have degrees. Yes, we agree. But the problem is they are not well skilled to do the job. So we want people who are well skilled to do the jobs very well, for us to bring up good employment, for us to bring up good wages, and to attract investors. Because investors, they don't invest in areas that are not having skills. We want to raise up skills to attract investments in Africa. That's why we are advocating for that as a resume case.
Time starts now. I'll first refute what the current speaker came here and said. Actually, the second speaker came and said, you can always learn new skills at any age. And I'm asking myself, are we always going to be in school to stay in school as the world is always evolving? So the first speaker comes and talk about how vocational trainings are prioritized in the status quo. And the third speaker came and said, they are not prioritized. So I don't know what they're advocating for. And he brought up about Nyakso, a comedian, which is very funny. Nyakso, first of all, pursued quality education and later vocational training because he wanted more skills, not one skill. So I'll first repeat what the motion of today states. This House would prioritize vocational training as a primary strategy for youth unemployment and poverty alleviation in Africa. So what is a primary strategy? This is a method used as the root without any other branching factor. Mind you, dear judges, we are not against vocational training. What we are against is we cannot prioritize vocational training because in the long run, it is going to get us nowhere. So I'll first talk about what is the synergy of between education and social support.
Please.
Denied. When combined, quality education and social support create a powerful force for addressing unemployment and poverty. Education provides the foundation, while social support offers the necessary scaffolding to help young people reach their full potential. By investing in both governments and communities can create a more equitable and prosperous future for their youth. So the point of clash here is whether or not we are advocating for education. There is a difference between traditional education and quality education. Actually, in quality education, you get more skills, instead of getting one skill, you get a lot of skills with sciences, experience, and everything. And in our plan, we talked about community engagement. We talked about financial assistance, access to opportunities, which they are not talking about. Because actually, in their world, we still win. Because quality education, they said for vocational training is included in quality education. To me, if they're prioritizing their vocational trainings, we are not prioritizing it, but we are working alongside with it. To mean vocational training should not be prioritized. No. Quality education should be prioritized. So the minimum level of vocational training that we have, which the first speaker came and talked about, is enough. We do not need to prioritize it because at the end of the day, he talked about how TVET students can go and work on a field, but I wonder why aren't they called civil engineering schools? Because at the end of the day, they have the same qualification, but they're not because we still need to pursue a higher level of education. And then they talk about how you can actually get a job without going to university, you can still earn money. But what have we seen? In Rwanda and other countries, we are facing with people who do not want to go to school because they think they have gotten where they want to be. So what do we want? First of all, the second speaker comes here and talk about how the root cause of poverty is an unskilled labor force. Now I'd like to ask, can you go, if you have skills, you have everything you need, can you go to get a job when the country is in civil wars? No. Can you go to get a job when the country does not have infrastructure? No, you cannot. That is why our social support and quality education tackles the root causes of poverty, which are systemic issues, economic inequality, education, and healthcare. So, dear judges, I think we are taking the debate because at the end of the day, in their world, we still win. And in our world, we win because we are not prioritizing vocational training. What we want is prioritizing quality education, social support. These things will bring about youth employment. These things will bring about elevating our people, our nations, our countries from poverty. Because at the end of the day, what do we want? I talked about a self-reliant African continent. I talked about employed people who have who have this mentality of job creating. What they want is, like you get a skill for 6 months and then you can go get another, you can go get another, you can go get another. And in this world that is always evolving, what do we want? We want a set of skills. So if I go in medicine, I can find myself there. If I come in iDebate, I can find myself here. If I go in education, I can find myself here. If I go in engineering, yes, I can find myself there. Because at the end of the day, what do we want? We want a nation. We want a continent. Because in Africa, the leading demographic factor is the youth. That is what we want. We want an Africa that is prosperous. We want an Africa that is self-reliant. We want an Africa that can work and pave its way from poverty to prosperity. And this is why I think we take the debate, because in our world we win, and in their world we win. Thank you.
Thank you guys for an amazing debate. Now we'll give you 2 minutes to prepare the reply speech. And while you do that, please make a list of the names that each team was debating on and the name of your schools. Thank you.
My time starts now. In a world that is forever changing, you cannot equip yourself with one skill, because at the end of the day, you're going to burn yourself. We do not know what the status quo is, because the first and third speaker contradicted themselves. We talk unemployment and poverty in the world and in their world, because their cause of poverty is unskilled, and we solve by quality education, which provides multiple skills. And in our world, we have both quality education and social support, and eradicate all the root causes of poverty as categorized. We talked about job creation, mentorship, scholarships, internships is the way eradicating poverty. We also talked about how quality education can work along vocational training. Yes, there is no vocational training without quality education, but there is quality education without vocational training. But we are not saying we want to ban vocational training, but we are saying it is not a priority, because it has proven to be insufficient, and it has also proven to be unreliable. So in their world, we solve their problems of unemployment. We also solve the problem of eradicating poverty, because we actually tackle the problem of unemployment, because unskilled labor, and we're providing skills. But in their world, they're providing a skill, which is why I think is the causes of poverty in the first place. So thank you. I will come to you, my side, because in their world, in our world, they're just using different languages. Thank you. Welcome to my side.
May I start? Thank you, dear judges. I'm coming back for the reply speech. It's the first speaker from Team Proposition. Now, clearly, I didn't say different thing from what my third speaker said. Mention this very well and listen to it carefully. I said that the vocation training is there, but it's not prioritized, in which we want to prioritize. Now, their plan falls into our plan. Let me show you how. Because they said about quality education. Quality education, mind you, it's not a system of education. It's a standard of education. Which means, so if we are prioritizing vocational training, we are giving quality education. So they are falling into our part. So which means their plan is falling into our plan, making us request for a mutual exclusivity in this time, dear judges. Now, the first speaker said that we have vocational training already, but we are poor. Yet, I said it in my first speech that we have the vocational training, that's true, but we are not prioritizing it. That's why we are poor. So we are requesting for it to be prioritized so that we stop the poverty we have. Now, the quality education they're mentioning, which literally is falling into our plan, as we said. So clearly, weighing on the two sides, this is a value motion, weighing on the two sides, we talked about vocational training, vocational training, addressing to youth unemployment and poverty, as we said in my first speech and second speech, and my third speaker clarified more about that. So we are addressing to these two, as the motion says. Now, they are just falling into our plan, which means, so where are we going? Are we going this way or the way that's underneath us? So this is a clear sign that the team proposition takes the debate, and I welcome you to our side. Thank you.
Thank you guys for an amazing debate. You guys can shake hands. Now, we're not going to give you the verdict, but every judge can give you guys their own comments. You guys are going to hear the verdict after, when you're coming for the finals. Now, my comment on the debate is that you guys really had an amazing debate, which gave me a lot of information that I never knew about some things, but I can keep reminding you guys that no new points are introduced in the reply speech, so it's better that everything is mentioned. And I would like to also remind you guys that the third speaker is here to conclude everything. So when you bring everything back, sometimes it's hard for the judges to make sure that they compile everything that you've said together. But all in all, I think you guys had an amazing debate, and whoever goes to the finals, of course, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Hi once again. My comment is quite short. I love this debate. I love that you guys explained everything because, like they say, judge is a blank paper. And for the team that is going to win, congratulations. And you guys did great. You did an amazing job, so keep it up. Yeah.
All right, that was a wonderful debate on the motion that says this House would prioritize vocational training as a primary strategy for youth unemployment and poverty alleviation in Africa. As a reminder, on team proposition, we had Hope Haven Christian School, and on the opposition, we had Stella Matutina. Now, this was the second round of the semi-finals for the TV Debate Championship Season 2, and as such, the verdict will not be revealed in this particular round. It will be announced next week at the finals. We are excited to see the teams that will commence to the finals. Thank you. See you next time.
The stage is set. The challengers are ready. And the battle of ideas is about to begin.
How many youth can these people employ?
Get ready for Season 2 of the Ultimate Debate Competition, where the sharpest minds, the boldest arguments,
Because all we want is eradicating poverty at its grassroots level.
and the brightest young debaters go head to head. Who will rise to the top?
Employment, we're going to be having healthy citizens.
Who will claim the title? Tune in to find out in the explosive TV Debate Competition Season 2, presented by iDebate.